Welcome to Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It, the podcast where we dive deep into the journey from vision to reality. I'm Kelly Jackson, your guide on this path of self-discovery, transformation, and intentional living. Here, we explore everything from mindset shifts and personal growth to spiritual alignment and entrepreneurship, sharing insights, stories, and actionable wisdom to help you live a life in harmony with your dreams. Every episode will dig into what it means to not only dream big, but to actually consciously create the life you envision. Let's turn your dreams into real life. Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another episode of Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It. And today, I want to explore a theme that is so alive for many of us right now: ease. I know this because, for many reasons, and one is because y'all have been really loving that episode, What If It Gets to Be Easy? This is quickly growing as one of the most popular episodes. What if it gets to be easy? So I know if y'all are tuning into that episode, this is alive in your hearts right now. We're going to go deeper, and we're going to build a little bit off of last week's episode 2 about the nervous system. So finding ease, even in the swirling chaos of life and the world and our own minds. That's what this is about. And I have really been reflecting deeply on how we can access flow states and how we can soothe and support our nervous system, and how in the midst of a culture that often glorifies hustle, we can choose to ground into a frequency of ease. So let's peel back the layers together over the next hour and discover what it means to live in flow no matter what is happening around us. Okay? And we're going to start by understanding flow states and how they work. I want you to think of flow as that sweet spot where you are totally immersed in what you're doing. Time flies, your creativity soars, and you feel effortlessly alive. Flow states, they aren't like random gifts, okay? They are a reproducible state of consciousness that blends focus and passion and challenge. And today, we're going to unpack the science and soul of flow so that you can invite more of it into your work and life. Flow is the brain's all systems go signal. Okay? When you're in flow, your prefrontal cortex quiets down, and that reduces self-doubt and overanalysis. I know we got some overthinkers out there. Trust me, I've been one of them. Your brain releases dopamine for motivation. It releases endorphins for pleasure and norepinephrine for focus. And this cocktail heightens your performance and creativity without the burnout. It is literally your brain's way of rewarding optimal engagement. Okay, that's why I say flow is the brain's all systems go signal. What we don't want are the stress cocktails of hormones, right? But when we're in flow state, again, this is a cocktail that we do want, because it's heightening your performance and your creativity, and you're not burning out in the process. Flow requires the right balance of skill and challenge. And you may know this, right? But we're going to talk about it anyway. Too little challenge can lead to feelings of boredom, and too much challenge can lead to feelings of anxiety. And either way, you exit flow, whether you become bored or you become anxious or overwhelmed. You're exiting flow state. You want to be in the Goldilocks zone, okay, where tasks stretch you just enough. And when you tune into that edge and you gently expand it, flow becomes a habitual rhythm rather than this rare gift that sometimes you get into flow state. Okay? I really want you to hear that it is possible for flow to become part of your daily life. You know, it just came to my mind when I said that. Oh my goodness. Let me think of what movie it is. It is adorable. They get into flow state. Oh, it's Soul. Soul. It's a Disney Pixar movie. The guy plays the piano, and oh my gosh. So there's this whole illustrated, animated representation of flow state, and it's wonderful. And if you've not seen that movie, and it's a guy spinning signs is the one I'm thinking of. I mean, he's just into his flow state, and it shows what happens to your mind when you get into flow state. It's pretty cool. Now, I want you to also, just like I just said in that movie, I gave the example that the guy that I'm talking about, he got into flow state spinning a sign. Flow is accessible in any activity, guys, big or small. It's not just, for rock climbers or elite athletes or musicians. I mean, you can find flow in painting a wall. I've been painting a mural this week, and not even a mural. Like, you could truly just be painting your wall. Okay. Writing a sales page, cooking dinner, you can get into flow state, okay? The key is total presence and enjoyment in the task, however mundane it is. And flow is an invitation to make all aspects of life soulful. Which is why, again, check out that movie Soul. It's worth a watch if you've never seen it before. Cultivating flow also resets your stress set point. So regular flow experiences train your nervous system to recover faster and stay balanced. They become these like mini resets, and it reduces cortisol and it floods your system with alignment chemicals. And this is how ease starts to feel like a baseline and not a luxury. And I'm going to tell you, because and you may already know my story, I have lived both ways. I have operated businesses both ways. I have lived my life on two different ends of the spectrum. I have had businesses on two different ends of the spectrum. And I remember and I know what it feels like when you feel like flow is a luxury and it's something that's, only attainable sometimes. And on the other end of that, I know what it's like to embody a lifestyle where flow is just part of it, your daily lifestyle. And it is possible, is what I'm saying. That's why these conversations are really important to have, because flow is not this mystical state that's just reserved for gurus. It is a natural function of your brain and body that you can cultivate intentionally. In Self-Love Uni, we guide members through practices to identify and expand their flow zones so that you can live and work in that sweet spot more often. I'm telling y'all, I'm trying to spend as much of my days in flow as possible. Now, I want to move into a little bit. Let's touch on last week's episode again on the nervous system. I want to talk about the nervous system again and nervous system healing and the role of ease in that process. Because your nervous system is the foundation of your entire experience. How you respond to stress and joy and every nuance in between. Healing your nervous system is not optional. It is essential if you want to thrive instead of merely survive. So let's dive into why and how Easing your nervous system amplifies your creativity and leadership and well-being. First off, the autonomic nervous system has two main branches. The sympathetic branch ramps you up for action. The parasympathetic calms you down for rest and digestion. Chronic overactivation of fight or flight, which is the sympathetic, means less creativity, more burnout, and a limited capacity for flow. If you are constantly, chronically living in a state of fight or flight, overactivation of the sympathetic nervous system, guys, you are limiting your capacity for flow. Truly, you are. Good news though, healing means re-anchoring into the parasympathetic safety so that you can engage from a place of calm and not crisis. It is possible. You can do this. Even if you've been living with a dysregulated state, with a dysregulated nervous system, in a dysregulated state, it is possible. And you know what? It starts with awareness. So that's why we're having this talk. Dysregulation can show up as overwhelm, as anxiety, or as completely shutting down, which is why you hear, fight or flight, fawn or freeze. And the fawning is, well, we'll get into that in a second, but let's talk about the freeze because I just said shutting down. So that's what freeze is, right? Where you just completely stop because it just gets too overwhelming and it's too much. And I know I used to really get into a cycle of doing that, of burning out and then freezing and being like, I need a break. I can't do anything, right? So if or when your nervous system perceives constant threat, even if it's subconsciously, again, when we're have that chronic overactivation of the fight or flight. So your system is perceiving constant threat, even if it's subconsciously, you will find yourself procrastinating, people pleasing, or numbing out. And as we all know, numbing out can show up in lots of different ways, from doom scrolling to mindless TV consumption to substances, all kinds of things. And these are coping strategies that will backfire over time. True healing, and again, notice I'm saying these are coping strategies. That doesn't mean you can't ever enjoy a little TV, or you can't ever enjoy social media on your phone, or you can't ever enjoy a little plant medicine. But what I'm saying is, if you're using these things to numb out, using them, we talked about this in that episode with Lori Payne too, using things as a crutch. It could be anything, guys. But if you're using them to numb out, and if you're using them as coping strategies, then it will backfire over time, because true healing involves recognizing these triggers and rewiring your response through gentle, consistent practice. The power of co-regulation is something I want to talk about too, because we are wired to feel safer when we're not alone. And we sense calm in another person or animal, or even in a piece of music, right? When we do that, that is co-regulation. Sharing our energy field with someone or something whose presence helps us downshift out of stress. This is the power of co-regulation, and it might look like a heartfelt conversation with a friend who listens without judgment, or cuddling an animal. Maybe you have a dog or a cat or something furry at home, right? Putting on your favorite song that soothes your nervous system. In my coaching spaces, we intentionally cultivate these moments of shared safety, which is like inviting vulnerability and genuine connection so that everyone can anchor into calm together. It really does make a difference when you have someone you can talk with openly, vulnerably, transparently, without the fear of judgment or retaliation or any kind of thing that would activate that sympathetic nervous system, right? And co-regulation is a very powerful tool. Whether you have a relationship, a partnership, children, in any capacity, a friendship, anything, really, co-regulation can be something helpful. So I want to invite you, if you're not already exploring the power of co-regulation, I want you to lean into this a little more, because we really are wired to feel safer when we're not alone. Now, let's get back into ease a little bit, because ease is the ground from which sustainable growth, or rather sustainable success grows. Without nervous system health, high performance becomes high stress. And guys, I'm a high performer. I have been working Brendan Burchard. He's like the world's leading high performance coach. I'm pretty much sure y'all have all heard me say Brendan's name at least once. And those of you who, some of you know, you hear me say it a lot more than once, because I really appreciate what he does. And he is the world's leading high performance coach. And I am a high performer. And so I have been working with him, doing his coaching for years now. And I know, especially in all you guys out there listening who are also high performers, you know that without nervous system health, high performance can become high stress. And when you prioritize rest and boundaries and joy, you build greater capacity to show up fully on camera, in your offers, in your relationships. And you do that without fracturing under pressure. And I think that's a really important part to notice. You know, success, I said this in the last episode too, the true sign of success is a regulated nervous system. As some of you already know, when I had built businesses or things in the past that were, quote, successful, but were they really? Because no, I did not have a regulated nervous system, and it was very stressed out and very high stress, and I was fracturing under pressure. Everything was suffering. My health, my mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health, relationships, personal, professional, intimate, like all of these things, everything was suffering. So healing your nervous system is the ultimate self-love practice. And I'm here to encourage you to prioritize this work. And guys, it's woven into my coaching containers, where you learn to regulate, to restore, to lead from your calm center. This is how you make peace the new productivity. And lo and behold, you become a lot more productive in the process. It's kind of funny how that works, okay? And it's way more fun and sustainable. So let's keep it rolling. Okay, flow states, triggers, and how they intersect. That's what we're about to talk about. Flow and triggers are two sides of the same coin. One expands your capacity and the other highlights where you've contracted. When triggers hijack you, they will pull you out of flow, just like that. But when you learn to work with triggers as data, you discover easy entry points back into presence. So let's explore that interplay, because this is fun. A trigger is a signal, not a verdict. What does that mean? Well, if you're feeling this jolt of anxiety or irritation, it's not telling you that something is wrong. It's showing you where your nervous system needs recalibration. So treat each trigger as this GPS coordinate, and it is guiding you to unhealed territory that, once tended, frees up massive energetic real estate. I want you to think of it that way. Flow loves curiosity and triggers love judgment. You will hear me often talk about the importance of curiosity on this journey, this intentional journey of self, this journey that you are on. If you are tuned into, dreamed it, then real lifed it, then you, I know, are on an intentional journey of self. You are in some way, shape, or form intentionally putting your energy into becoming a version of yourself that is capable of achieving more, being more, holding more, receiving more, sustaining more. And you want a more fulfilled life and a more aligned life. And you want more ease and flow in your life. I know if you're listening, this is the work you're doing. So I commend you for that. And take a moment to give yourself a pat on the back. Seriously, I'm doing that to myself right now. Like, actually put your hand on your back and pat it. Yes, I'm waiting. There you go. Now, didn't that feel good? You deserve that, okay? So again, if you're doing this work, I know that you are curious. You want to learn new things. You want to approach life with a little bit of curiosity. And I love that about you. I love that about you. Keep doing it. Keep being that way. Flow loves curiosity. Triggers love judgment. And when you judge a trigger, well, I shouldn't feel this way. Well, you get stuck. But when you approach it with curiosity, what is this trying to teach me? Okay, I'm triggered. What is this trying to teach me? You open the door back to flow. This is a cornerstone of the work we do in the one-on-one coaching, guys, where every emotional charge becomes a launch pad for growth. Yeah, you can do this work on your own too. I encourage you to. And sometimes it's like we know we're ready to work with somebody that can really help us get to that next level that we know is like, it's so close we can taste it. Right? Okay. I want you to pause before reaction. And that is going to be how you bridge from trigger to flow. A 3-second breath, a brief grounding technique, a quick body scan. Any of these things can short circuit the old pattern and move you back into your flow state. And it's not about never feeling triggered. It's about choosing presence over reaction. We're going to be triggered. I don't care how much work you've done. I have been on this path consistently for like 9 years now. I mean, it is a way of life. I am always triggered. I am triggered. Things trigger me. I say always triggered. I wouldn't say I'm always triggered, but like I am triggered. But I am not triggered, okay? Like that would be crazy for me to sit here and be like, I'm never triggered. Yes, I'm triggered. But let me tell you the difference. I'm curious about my triggers. I don't judge my triggers. If something's triggering me, I know it's trying to teach me something. And I know that my triggers are my teachers. And I'm grateful for my triggers. And I know that they are launching me into growth. So that's why I really these days stay in a state of ease and flow instead of hustle and grind and all of the other things, because I have learned to approach life with a sense of curiosity, and how my triggers, I don't judge myself for them. For being triggered, I'm just like, okay, this is the work we're doing. I mean, this is it. Now, so just again, we're choosing presence over reaction. It's not about never feeling triggered. It's just like, are you going to react? Are you going to have a knee-jerk reaction to that trigger? Or are you going to be present and in the moment and aware of it and curious about it? So repeated practice rewires the brain and body. So each time you catch yourself in a trigger and you move into flow, you're building a new neural groove, a new neural pathway, and a new a new physiological habit. It's the heart of sustainable transformation, and turning chaotic reactions into calibrated responses is what we're doing here. Okay. And y'all know I love the word calibrate too. That really is what we're doing. The work we're doing, we're calibrating into alignment. Working with triggers isn't an add-on to what we're talking about here. It's an integral part to accessing flow consistently. If you want to stay in a state of flow more often, learn to work with your triggers and not to be set off by them. Okay? And guys, if you want guided support, that's exactly the journey we take together inside Self-Love Uni, where triggers become tools for alignment. I'm going to put it in the show notes. You can hop in anytime. Okay? And honestly, I kind of hope you do, because there's magic inside. There's magic inside. You'll see when you get there. I guess I'll leave it at that. You'll see when you get there. Now, let's talk about holistic practices to invite ease and flow. Now we're getting into the practical magic part. The simple, holistic practices that you can weave into your daily life to anchor ease and to spark flow. These aren't extra tasks. Before you get another thing to do, guys, they're not extra tasks. They're mini rituals that keep you regulated, creative, and aligned. You're going to want to do this. Like micro flow rituals. 5 minutes a day can change your day. A short walk with focused breath. A dedicated creativity pause with music. 3-minute gratitude practice. These are things that can flip your vibration and open the channel for flow. And again, consistency is key. These are just micro rituals that compound over time. Less than 5 minutes a day even. I said 5 minutes, but really, just a little walk, a little creativity pause, listen to one song, little 3-minute gratitude practice, write it down in your journal, or just say it out loud, or just feel it in your heart. Okay. Also, sensory tuning, like using your 5 senses, flow and regulation both thrive when you're grounded in the presence. So light your favorite candle, or savor a sip of tea, or feel the texture of your desk underneath your fingertips. These are simple sensory anchors to help your body come back into ease instantly. Ground yourself in the present moment. And there's also movement that matters. Dancing, stretching, shaking. Your body holds energy. And unprocessed stress lives in your tissues. It lives in your body. It really does. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, I'm here to tell you that unprocessed stress lives in your tissues. So even a 60-second dance party, or a quick stretch sequence, a little vinyasa, maybe a sun salutation or two, can reset your nervous system and reignite your creative spark. So, one thing that if you're working, this is another thing Brendan teaches, and I integrate it and also share it with my clients, and because I believe in it, it works, and it's science backed. He does a lot of science research. He does a lot of research on all of this stuff, and it's working in little scheduled spurts. And so, if you're sitting down doing some focused work, if you've time blocked, which if you're not time blocking, what is you doing? If you're not time blocking, seriously, what is you doing? Why not? we're going to have that conversation. That's a whole nother conversation, but I just had to throw it in here. So when say you're doing focused work and you're working on a project, and let's just say you're going to be working on it for 3 or 4 hours. So you got time blocked 3 or 4 hours to focused work on this project. You are not going to work for 3 to 4 straight consecutive hours without ever stepping away. That's actually not what we want to do. We want to work for about 50 minutes and then take a little 10-minute reset. And then revisit. Step away, take a walk, do a push-up, do some sit-ups, do some jumping jacks, listen to a music, shake it out, dance a little, do a little meditation, go eat a snack. Because sometimes you just need a snack, right? So this is what I'm talking about, guys. You can schedule in these moments to step away, and it will ultimately help you to stay creative and an open channel for flow. Nature is a non-negotiable. You must spend a few minutes outdoors each day, barefoot on the grass, hug a tree, listening to the birds. Guys, if you're not doing it, do it. This grounds you, okay? And it activates your parasympathetic system. Nature isn't just pretty. It is medicine for you. It is physiological medicine for you. Your body needs it. Your nervous system needs it. There is something about nature that if you are not being in it, if you are not allowing yourself to be in nature every day, it's going to catch up with you. In some way, it's going to catch up with you. Guys, we really do need to spend time in the sun. Feel the wind, feel the temperature outside, hear the wildlife, the birds, the everything. Be barefoot sometimes. Don't always have shoes on. Really and truly, sit in the grass. Feel the grass under your feet. Feel the dirt under your feet, the mud. Go stand in water, in a puddle without any shoes on. If you haven't done this in a long time, do it. Do it. There's magic there, okay? Nature really is a non-negotiable. And I want you to journal your flow. Keep a simple flow log too. Note when you feel most alive, what you were doing, how your body felt. And over time, you will map your personal flow formula and be able to design more days that look like that. And you can just do this in your normal journal. Just kind of keep a flow log, and see what happens. These practices aren't extra work, despite what it might sound like. They are your infrastructure for aligned living. And if you want more personalized strategies and accountability, you know where to find me in Self Love Uni, where we turn these into lifelong habits. And I will mention this, if you're like, well, yeah, that sounds good, but how do you do it? I know what I need to do. I know the areas of my life where I need to improve. I know the areas of my life where I need to change. I know what I need to do, but I just can't do it, or I can't make it stick. Guys, again, I hear you. I see you. That is the work we do. It will all make sense once you get inside of Self Love Uni. You will discover why you know what to do, but you just can't do it. Okay? Let's keep going. Somatic leadership. I want to talk about leading from a regulated presence. Leadership really isn't about titles as much as it is about, well, not as much as, it's not about titles. It's about presence. And somatic leadership means guiding from a place where your body, mind, and spirit are in harmony. When you regulate yourself, you uplift everyone around you. And so I want to explore what that looks like, starting with your presence is your platform. Whether you are leading a team or a community or even your own brand, people follow the energy you hold more than your words. So regulation creates a calm authority and kind of an invisible guidance that people trust. Model regulation so others can entrain. That's what I want you to focus on. Nervous system work is in sync. When you stay grounded under pressure, others around you feel safer. And this ripple effect builds a culture of ease and creativity rather than chaos and burnout. And I don't know about y'all, but that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm definitely over here creating this culture of ease and creativity for me, for my business, for my team. I did not want to bring a team into this business where it's like, all right, guys, chaos and burnout, that's what you're here to do. No, that's not fair to them. And that's not what I want the culture of my business and my brand to be. That is what it used to be before I did this work and before I took a break and restructured my company in a whole new way so that now I have a culture of ease and creativity and flow and rhythm and flow. Those are that is what my business now is built on. And my team thrives as a result of it because they're coming into an environment where it is not chaotic at all. There is clarity. There is a sense of calm. It is a place that is a breeding ground for creativity and creative exploration. And there is a sense of rhythm and flow in everything that we do and alignment. And truly, it is the opposite of the culture of what you want my company to be one of chaos and burnout. Do not allow the team members to go there either. And that is not what we're here to do. And as a result, this is truly, this is the most joyful, aligned, satisfied, fulfilled, happy, peaceful that I've ever felt running a company in my life. And I'm telling y'all, it's because of all of these things that we're talking about now. And I can also, I truly feel like I can say this, that if you were to ask a what you want team member how they felt about their experience working on the dream team over there at What You Want, they're going to say the same thing, because that is truly the culture that I am creating within the business, and that because I've done it both ways, and I know this is how you sustain success. Let's talk about decision making from a regulated space and how that leads to clarity, because impulse choices often come from a reactive nervous system. When you pause and breathe and regulate first, your decisions are wiser and more aligned and more sustainable. Somatic leadership includes self-advocacy as well. So speaking up for your needs. Rest. You got to rest, guys. Boundaries. You have to have boundaries. Support. Yeah, you need support too. All of this, your needs, they aren't selfish. It is essential leadership. You cannot lead well if you're depleted. You may be leading a team. You may be leading an organization. You may be leading your community. You may be leading your household. You cannot lead well if you're depleted. Okay? Somatic leadership really is the next evolution of conscious leadership, because it's not just about what you do, but how you show up. So again, if you're ready to lead from your body's wisdom, I would love to support you further inside of my coaching containers. Notes, links in the bio, the show notes down below, all the links on how you can do that. Just got to scroll to the bottom and check out the show notes, and I'll get you all set up to make it easy for you. And speaking of ease, let's talk about building a regulated environment and systems for sustainable ease. Because this is an important conversation to have. Designing your environment, your physical, your digital, your social environment to support regulation. Systems yes, we want systems in place for productivity. Yes, of course we do. But we also want systems in place for preserving peace and flow. So let's talk about physical clutter, or physical declutter, rather, for mental clarity. A tidy and harmonious space reduces background stress. Simple daily resets. Like I've shared this before. I've got a whole episode on decluttering and resetting. I'm going to link it in the show notes because it's good and you'll like it. And I talked too about my little house resets, like a 10-minute house reset. You can have a 10-minute tidying ritual. This keeps your environment from becoming an energetic drain. Guys, this is a real thing. I shared a story too about on my Instagram, I'll have to share that, about a photo shoot that we had done. And we had cleared off a wall, a space to do this photo shoot because we needed a white background. And it was me. I was the one being photographed. Chelsea over at Emerge Entity was the one doing the photography. And I was like off my game, guys. It was off. I was supposed to just be dancing, and she was capturing some shots to promote a dance workshop I had. And it was like, I was just stumbling and I couldn't quite figure it out until I did. And what I realized was when we had seen this white wall, we wanted to take the photo there. And what we did was there was a bunch of things on the wall. So we just kind of cleared everything off the wall and moved it to the middle of the room. And the middle of the room had a bunch of tables and chairs. So we needed more space. So we just were focused on the wall and creating this white background. And we didn't really pay as much attention to what we were doing. So we kind of scooted the tables back. And in the process, some of the chairs got all kind of out of place. And the stuff that was on the wall, we just kind of were moving it on top of the table. We're just really focused on making the wall white. And what I recognized a little ways through the shoot was I just felt so like, ugh. And then it dawned on me, and I told her, I said, Chelsea, come here, come see. Because she was standing with her back to this, and she was looking at me against a solid white wall. And I was like, come here for a second. And she walked over to me, and I was like, turn around and look. And I was like, this is what I'm looking at. And we both had this moment of like, oh my gosh, we had just created so much clutter and chaos right behind her. And that is what I was looking at. And so every time I'm like looking at the camera, what I'm seeing is just jumbled chairs and crunched up tables and piles of everything that we had just kind of put on top of the table real quickly to clear the wall. And it was like, felt very chaotic. And she was like, oh yeah, we just realized what we did. I'm like, we need to clear this, like, because I don't live like this. I don't work like this. One of my mantras, y'all probably know, is I deserve to live and work in a clean space. And so we just took a little beat, guys. Seriously, 5 minutes. I mean, it was kind of silly that we did it the way we did it, but I honestly believe it was just so this lesson could come about from it. And we just took 5 minutes and we just made the table straight, tucked the chairs in, nicely stacked the things we had taken off the wall, moved into the side, and we made the space clear and tidy. Oh my gosh, it made a world of difference. We went back to shooting, bam, I was like in the zone. It was good. It was fine because I wasn't just feeling so overwhelmed by all of this visual noise and clutter that we had created right behind her. You can do this in your own life too. You may not even realize it, is what I'm saying, because that was what was happening to us. So just reminding you of this. And again, I'll link that in the show notes so you can see what I'm talking about, that photo shoot. Digital boundaries are energetic borders. I want you to think of them that way. So I want you to set some tech-free times and curate your feed. Again, last week's episode or 2 weeks ago, the algorithm as a mirror, revealing your digital self. So that was, if you didn't already tune in, 1010, tune into the algorithm as a mirror. And I want you to curate your feed and limit notifications. Again, I do not have any notifications turned on inside of any social media apps, any emails, any of that. I choose. I don't need the dopamine hits. I choose when in my day I'm going to visit any kind of app, okay? Your devices should not hijack your nervous system, is what I'm saying. I also want to mention community as co-regulation. We kind of touched on it before, but it's worth mentioning again. Surround yourself with people who raise your frequency, guys. Create small groups or like accountability pods, whatever you want to call it, that will prioritize well-being as much as results. Okay? It really, it's great to have a goal and to, want certain results, but you really, really important to the journey, who you become along the way. I'm going to throw this in here, whether or not it goes here or not, I'm going to throw it in here. But because we've been talking about business, and you all know this is for entrepreneurs as well, but this could be for anything, not even an entrepreneur. If I was to, let's just say you're an entrepreneur. If I was to hand you the $10 million business, I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about, like, let's just say that that's what it's netting. Not even that was the revenue. A business that's netting $10 million a year. You got a whole team. If I was to hand you the perfect relationship, if I was to hand you, just to give you what you believe the perfect body to be, if I was just to give you all of those things, just wave a magic wand and it's yours. Okay, can you keep it? Could you keep those things? You say you want the perfect love. You say you want this certain body. You say you want X amount of zeros in your bank account. You say you want this business with all these clients. Okay, if I gave it to you tomorrow, could you keep it? Could you sustain it? Are you the person who could sustain it? Here's the thing, probably no, because it's who you become in the building of of all the creation of all these things. It's who you become. It's not just the results, is what I'm saying. You've got to become the kind of person that can hold this and that can sustain it and maintain it. That's what I'm saying. So don't try to skip the part of the becoming, because that's a really necessary part. The results are great. It's great to have a goal, but it's also to remember that it's the journey is what's important, and it really is who you are becoming along the way. Okay. I want you to have some rituals in your life that signal transition. Morning and evening rituals create bookends for your day. They are like clear markers that say, Work time starts, rest time begins. Your nervous system learns safety and predictability. So set up some rituals that signal transition into the work, into the rest, okay? When you build environments and systems that protect your nervous system, you build a fortress of flow, guys. And these structures hold you so that you can soar. And that's what you're made to do, is to soar. And guys, if you need a blueprint, my coaching is here to co-create it with you, okay? You do not have to sacrifice your peace to build a life or business that you love. Regulation and flow and somatic leadership are the new currency of sustainable success. If you are ready to step into this next level where ease and impact coexist, come join Self-Love Uni or work with me one-on-one. Got lots of opportunities for y'all. Let's co-create a life where your nervous system is your greatest ally and your business is a reflection of your grounded power. And, of course, your dreams become your reality with grace and joy. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It. I hope today's episode sparked something powerful within you. Remember, every step you take towards your vision counts, no matter how small. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please take a second to hit that subscribe button or leave a review. That would be amazing. Or share the podcast with someone who's ready to bring their dreams into reality too. And if you're looking to dive deeper, connect with me on social media at Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It, or at BE_what you want. Or visit dreameditthenreallifedit.us for more resources on aligning your life, business, and dreams. Until next time, keep dreaming and keep manifesting your dreams into real life. Love you, friends.